go. Go ahead and we are good. There we go. Good. Good morning. Shabbat Shalom. The Ladies of Teshuvah and your families. I am Rebekah from Teshuvah Ministries, and today we are excited to be in a new location. The location we are going to have for the next 3 weeks till Shabbat. We are at a Lady of Teshuvah's house, Jan. We are at Jan's house today, and her kids, Vincent and Emily, they're just wonderful hosts. So we are going to hang out here in her living room this morning while we do our show. So thank you, Jan, very much for opening your home. She laid a huge buffet out. We hadn't eaten breakfast, and she provided breakfast for us and gave us her living room. So we are set up here. Hopefully Isaac is on troubleshooting to see if the sound is right. So just let him know if something is too hot, the sound is too much, or not enough. All right. And look, I have a beautiful monitor. We're using Jan's monitor to show you the slides today. So today we are going to talk about the Ascension, because the next thing coming up is the Ascension in the spring calendar. One other thing, I have the mic sitting in the flowers, so I just want to make sure that you can hear. I'm not mic'd. It's kind of a general mic, so if you have issues or whatnot, just let Isaac know by putting something in the feed. All right. Okay, so let's see. We have a lot to talk about today. The Ascension and the beauties of that, and what it means for us, the work of Yahshua, what he accomplished, and what it means for us. And we need to look at this as a priest of Yahshua. We should care about what our high priest did, what he accomplished on this day, because he accomplished a ton on this day. So not this day, but on the Ascension Day, which actually happens. It's next Friday evening is when the Ascension happens, and I'm going to kind of just talk you through real quick about how to find that, but we're going to do that later in the show today. All right, are we ready to rock and roll, Isaac?
Yeah, I don't have any comments.
No comments.
Showing up.
Okay.
But other than that,
Okay. So maybe you can even step out and just see if Jan's getting it and making sure everything's going well. Sorry it took so long to get online. We were here set up, ready to go, but then there's always these issues. Hopefully they'll get flushed out at some point, and we'll figure out what perhaps went wrong and fix it. All right. So let me just turn my little happy music down. So Shabbat Shalom, ladies of Teshuvah and your families. I'm super excited that you are here today, and I want to just introduce ourselves. I am Rebekah bat Yahovah and Isaac ben bar Yahovah, or aka Rebekah and Isaac Garvin. We have been married for about, just so you know, Isaac is going to come on. So Isaac is in the house, and he is going to come on later when we start talking about the Ascension. And for now, I have Strawberry with me. This is Strawberry. This is Emily's and Vincent's friend. So Strawberry's going to stay with me for a little bit today. All right, so Isaac and I have been, just in case you don't know, a lot of you who are watching this already know this, but for the people who don't know, Isaac and I have been married for almost 20 years. At this point, if you watch this much later, it'll be much longer, because we're best friends. We ain't going anywhere. We left man-made religion about 15 years ago, and came from the Seventh-day Adventist background, if that resonates with anyone who is journeying out of Babylon, out of man-made religion. That is our background, and honestly, I am a fourth generation Adventist, I believe, and Isaac is third generation Adventist, and then we have left that to find the ancient path that the scriptures talks about, and that's been about a 15-year journey for us. We've been parents for about 18 years, so we have two beautiful daughters, Maggie and Hadassah. So we are parents as well as many other things that we are in our uniqueness, I guess I should say. I've been a Melchizedek feast diva for about 10 years. kind of just continuing to walk in that, but now I am doing more teaching about it than actually, doing it, in the sense. We're going to throw a Shabbat celebration in a couple weeks, so we still obviously do the feast, but I've kind of turned my focus from being, completely, spending all my time doing feast preparation in that way for big feasts. I've been turning it to help you be able to do that. So now I know how to do that. I lived in it for a long time. Now I'm turning to help you, and I'm hoping to encourage you on your path to doing that, and encouraging you to embrace that and walk it out. So I'm hoping that my work is blessing you so that you can be a Melech Tzadek feast diva, the ladies, and you'll bless your husbands, you'll bless your children, you'll bless your community around you, you'll bless everyone if you choose to walk in that. And I'm just here to help and to show you how. And we've also been running Teshuvah Ministries for about 6 years. We had a ministry before that, so we're used to it, but this has been quite a journey, let me tell you. And on some hand, I wouldn't really wish ministry on anyone. It's definitely a little bit of a hard road to walk sometimes, for sure. It's very, very, what do I say? It's very fulfilling, but it's also extremely painful a lot of times, because you really get hammered. Not that we all don't get hammered in just as being a Hebrew walking this path, or just a human being on the planet, we get hammered. But somehow you ask for extra hammering when you're in ministry. So, and we were very, just so you know, we were very careful. I guess it took us a long time to really embrace the word ministry, because we really felt like it wasn't a ministry as in special, unique to a certain few people. We really felt like the scriptures really talk about we're all supposed to be doing this, in the sense we're all supposed to be doing the Great Commission, finding Israel and bringing them back into the path, that sort of thing. So it was really hard to like adopt the word ministry, honestly, for us. But I think we figured out that you have to, when you're living in society, you have to speak their language, and you have to help people understand what it is you're trying to do. And so certain ideas or principles or structures and words help that. Before it was like, well, I think, it's like trying to describe who you are. Well, I'm a Hebrew, I'm an Israelite, I'm a Melech Tzadek priest, I'm Ephraim, I'm, that's really hard to figure out how to tell somebody who you are, because I just can't say anymore, well, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. It's a little bit more complicated to try to explain. So I'm rambling. So anyway, and we have hosted over about 200 biblical feasts for the King and for Yahweh, for the family of Elohim. So we come from a large, a deep well. There's lots to talk about, lots that we know from this huge experience, I guess, of hosting his feast for one person, for 133 people, for like just our family. So there's a lot of experience there that we want to share with you. And I forgot to put a picture up here. I was going to tell you just one fun fact about our family, about Isaac and I, and the one I wanted to tell you, which I wanted to show you a picture, but I don't have it here. I forgot to put that in. Our first family car was a 72 Toyota Land Cruiser. My super favorite. That was my favorite rig. Oh, it was so awesome. Big old stick shift right here, We had the top down. I'd have the girls in the back in car seats or not. Drive around town in our swimsuits, going to the beach. Tanned girls, blonde. Oh, super fun. I just love that rig. I didn't like driving long distances in it, but I loved it. It was just, it had a free spirit, kind of like me. So that's a really fun story that I just wanted to share with you. Not that it someday we'll get it again. Welcome to a show that is dedicated to transforming your head knowledge, ladies, into heart knowledge. That's right. You're going to walk this path out with your feet and with your hands. And how do you do that? So I am so, the more I get to know you ladies, Ladies of Teshuvah, which if you're new to the show and you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a Facebook group. It's a private group for ladies who are walking in Teshuvah, as in walking in repentance. Teshuvah means to turn. So you're going to turn from going this way and celebrating pagan things and honoring those gods. And you're going to turn, do a Teshuvah to honoring the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you're going to sacrifice to him and honor him. That's what turning means. That's what Teshuvah means. It's repentance. So, Ladies of Teshuvah, ladies of the turn, ladies of Teshuvah. I have a private Facebook group there for ladies. I think there's upwards of 400 ladies in there now, and maybe if you're watching this later, there's a lot more now. But I am just so impressed with the ladies that are coming into the group and the ladies who are kind of walking their life out. They're sharing their life and showing us how they're doing this, their struggles. With walking this path out, and the path, I mean obedience to the King of the universe and what he has asked us to do. One of those things that he's asked us to do is to walk in this rhythm of the feast. It completely consumes you. You have 70 plus days a year that he says, I want you to set these days apart, and I want you to show up to talk about what I want to talk about, what he wants to talk about. So you have Shabbats, you have new moons, you have all the annual feasts, like Passover and unleavened bread and first fruits, and we have added the Ascension in there because we are disciples or priests of Medina of Yahshua, and we feel it's really important to consider what he did 40 days after he left. And then there's Shavuot, and then there's Yom Teruah, and then you have Yom Kippur and Sukkot and Shemini Atzeret and Hanukkah and Purim. They're all so beautiful and they weave together so beautifully. But this rhythm, I believe, is where the rubber of repentance hits the road. Because you're going to be most seen, the fruits of your walk with Yahweh is going to be most seen in this area, I believe. And I think that all of these feasts really, they're a lesson plan for us to study. They're a place to walk. They're a place to walk. It's the path to walk. I mean, how else do you show unless you are, unless you walk this path of that you're going to stop everything you're doing and show up for his things. And in this is found, the love. It's found the love for your fellow man. It's love for Yehovah. And I don't believe you're missing anything when you're walking in these feasts. I don't believe you're missing anything that he wants to talk about. I think it's all here. So anyway, so if you don't know about this, go to the Facebook. So make sure it doesn't cover up. So we just froze. It just said the broadcast was completed, which I never said it was completed. So Isaac is checking to make sure we're back on and that it doesn't cover up what we just did, what I was just rambling about. Yeah, are we back up? All right. I'm super sorry, ladies and gents, but gals and gents, but anyway, families. So let's get past this. So where was I? I don't remember. Super impressed with the Ladies of Teshuvah. So I'm here in Jan's house, and I'm just super impressed with Jan. She has just a warrior heart. I love how she interacts with the ladies on the site, just full of wisdom, and is willing to share, willing to love, willing to open up her home. And I look around and I see wonderful things that reflect Yehovah. The fruits of her walk is so apparent here, and in her life story, and everything she's been through and what she's going through. I just love the Ladies of Teshuvah, and as we kind of weed out the ones who aren't really Ladies of Teshuvah and get to the gold, oh, beautiful. So anyway, if you want great fellowship, come over there. All right, so here we go. It's also two more things. It's a show for the Melech Tzadek Priesthood. Yes, and that's a huge thing. You can look through my YouTube videos if you want to know what that is about. But this is a show for the Melech Tzadek Priesthood. So we're not Christians in the sense of, yeah, we're not Christians, not Jewish, not Melech Tzadek. I mean, we're not Christians, we're not Messianic, we're not Jewish, we are Melech Tzadek. Excuse me. I think Anyway, just so you know, we are speaking from Melchizedek-minded perspective. So, and it's also, this is a show to help you get and stay on the right narrow path. And that narrow path is the Melchizedek priesthood and the Melchizedek understanding of things. Okay, so there we go. All right, today we're going to talk about the Ascension. I also have a little video for the teens. Yes, I do. And it has to do with Shavuot and teenagers. How cool. And I also have a little preview to the Ascension video. And I have 2 show and tell items. And then after the show, I just want to invite the Ladies of Teshuvah to go back over into the Facebook group and over there for After Show Glow. And we're going to talk to Jan. So Jan's going to come back with her kiddos. We're going to chat with her for a little bit. And also, if you make a comment in the feed when we get over there into the After Show Glow, I have a special PDF for you, a free one. That's my gift to you today for showing up. I'm going to give you the Ascension guidebook. Yes, so now I know a lot of you have actually bought the guidebook before, but today I'm giving it away free. I'll give it away tomorrow. So if you watch the show between now and Sunday morning, you make a comment in the feed over in the Ladies of Teshuvah group, then I get you on my email list and I'll send it to you by tomorrow night. Is that good? Did I ramble too fast? Okay. So how are you counting the Omar? So we are at the 5th Shabbat last night. So for the last 4 weeks, we've tried something new. We were trying to do layered popsicles. Okay, so the idea when you're counting the Omar is to help your kids remember where you are in the counting, because you have to count. The scriptures talks about how you count from first fruits to Shavuot. So you count 7 Shabbats plus 1 day, or you count 50 days. There's 2 ways, and you have to do both ways in order to nail Shavuot, which is pretty awesome. But how do you count it? How do you teach your children in a way that they're going to remember? Well, my kids remember layers on a cake. So, but cakes are hard to make every single Friday, prep day. You know, I've frozen them before, this sort of thing, but they're also not very healthy. So I don't know of a good healthy cake out there. So anyway, at least in my opinion. So we tried popsicles this year, like juice popsicles or yogurt popsicles, but you know, we did 4 layers up to last week and it just wasn't working. I just couldn't get into it. You can't see the layers very well. Maybe you have a better way to do it and figure out something healthy, but so we went back to a cake. So yesterday we baked a 5-layer cake. Vanilla, chocolate, vanilla, chocolate, vanilla. And then when you cut into it, you can beautifully see those layers. So this is our little cake from last night and the very first little flowers that were showing up near our property. So I'm just encouraging you to figure out how to count so that you remember where you are in the counting and so your kids remember where you are in the counting of the Omar as we get to Shavuot. How cool. All right. I'm sorry if I run on, but all right, we're going to invite the Ruach. So Isaac, I'm going to have you do the slides. We're going to invite Yehovah's Ruach by doing the Avinu prayer together. Sometimes the Ruach moves me to just pray. Sometimes we're just going to say this prayer together so that Yahshua taught us to pray. So the Avinu prayer is the Father's prayer. So it's called, we know it as the Lord's Prayer. So here we go. And Isaac's going to put up the slides here. So, our Father in heaven, may your name be sanctified. And we're going to say it in Hebrew. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim Yitkadesh Shimcha. Let's say it one more time. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim Yitkadesh Shimcha. And then the next slide. May your kingdom be blessed. Your will shall be done in heaven and on earth. Ve'it barak melchutcha. Retzencha yiheye asui bashamayim uva aretz. We'll say it one more time. V'yit barak melchutcha retzencha yiheye asui bashamayim uva aretz. And then the next one. Give us our bread continually. Give us our bread continually. The bread of life. Oh, and real bread. To eat. So we have the real bread of life, Yahshua, and the real bread to eat. We need sustenance, and otherwise if we don't eat, we die, both ways, spiritually and physically. V'titein lachmenu timidit. Say it again. V'titein lachmenu timidit. All right, and then forgive the debt of our sins as we forgive the debt of those who sin against us or who wrong us, I think is more correct. Umehol lanu Chatotenu ka'asher anaknu mohalim lachotim lanu. Let's say it again. Umechol lanu chatotenu ka'asher anachnu mochalim lachotim lanu. And then this one, do not bring us into the hands of a test. Don't bring us into the hands of a test, Papa. Vial tiviinu l'dei nidsion. Say it again. Vial tiviinu l'dei nidsion. Oh, Papa, don't bring us into the hands of a test. No more. All right, and then protect us from all evil or peril. V'sham rinu mikora. V'sham rinu mikora. Protect us from all evil or peril. And the prayer that he prayed ends right there. V'sham rinu mikora. So hopefully at some point you can say all of that, all fluid, all in one beautiful heart breath. Awesome. Oh, I forgot to talk about the date here. I guess I would like to. So we'll go back. I just looked at my front screen right here. The Gregorian date is we're May 12th in 2018. But the Hebrew date, the biblical date according to the Creator's calendar, is we're in the second month and the 11th day, 6,018 years from creation. And the Shavuot countdowns, we are 16 days from Shavuot countdown. Super awesome, super cool. Okay, so according to the prayer, sorry, I do tangents. Oh well, I go back and forth. All right, so let's sanctify the name together. So part of that prayer is to actually do something. Yeah, he's like, sanctified be your name. Okay, so how do we do that? So in the ladies group this week, I think it was Melissa that posted, let's post our thanks to him. So we're gonna thank him for these things that he's done so that we don't forget, right? So when was the last time you remembered that he actually...
Okay.
You might have to, if it goes, let's see if it's going, I don't know.
Move the dog. Pick up the dog. So I can tell.
Strawberry, sit right there. Now listen. Okay, so there was an accident on the freeway. So I'm praising. Okay, you can take the slide off. Other side. Down to the bottom. Take the slide off. And put the Happy Hebrew Girl slide on, the logo on. Hello, are we back live? Go out to the top. With a little video about the Ascension. So I'm going to have Isaac play that, and then we'll check the settings and see if All right. So I wanted to play that for you so that you would be inspired to celebrate. Okay, so it looks like I just keep getting cut off here. It's super frustrating for us on this end. It must be super frustrating for you as well to try to listen to us. I am just going to go back and recap because I don't think it actually video or captured some of the announcements, and then another video that I played for the kids, for the teens. Just really quick, there's a PDF I'm going to give the ladies who show back up into the ladies Facebook group after the show for After Show Glow. And just take a moment, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can stand this. And then like this video, it helps in ratings as well. And then if you want to help us join us to do kingdom work, then please do by becoming a patron. Give an offering today if you'd like to our PayPal account. And so maybe we can get the right equipment to make this stop. If we need a place, we need a location. Honestly, we need to have our own location in town to be able to air this without any interruption and to make this show as good as it possibly can be. So we need your help to do that. If you would like to, please donate to us to do that and give us a nice offering. Help us support us constantly, not just one time. We need constant support. If we're gonna do it anyway, we'll talk about that later. And then also the Ladies of Teshuvah conference that is in Colorado, and join Isaac for a time there, separate from the ladies at the same facility, so they can drive you and whatnot. But also, I want to make sure that you understand the online registration isn't the deadline isn't until July 19, 2008. So you can come have a wonderful time, very meaningful. You need to know what an Ezer Kenegdo is, because you as a lady were designed as an Ezer Kenegdo, and you must know what that means. You must come to the Ladies of Teshuvah workshop to really find out what that all entails and what that means. It was written on your DNA, Yahshua, or the day that Yahshua comes back on Yom Teruah. So the seventh Shabbat, or seventh, the new moon, is very important. So we're marking, and so is the first one. So you can find all the rest of them, right? But we're marking the moon so that we can teach our children to look up in the sky and find the Creator's calendar. Okay, and one thing I did while the video was buffering or whatnot, hopefully it's still going. Okay, so picking back up where we left off because it buffered again. These film stars, I wanted to remember what Yahweh has done for this family in particular. So, I feel like this is a really good little show and tell today because of what the ladies are going through in the group. Last week, Melissa put a little post up to say, hey, let's remember what he's done for us. And when he actually did answer our prayers. So here's what I did is I took all these stars, and I have lots of them, and I have absolutely through some friends. He sends somebody to the office right at the right time for a divine appointment. We're blessed with really good teachers. Sunshines, whatever, stars, blasts, or whatever. They went on my ceiling, and they were taped there for a long time. Of course, they fell down, and I had to re-put them up. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you today in my show and tell, to hopefully encourage you to not forget what Yahweh has done for you. You saw in the video how we celebrated, go on a hike and a picnic and stuff. But one of the other things that we've added to that is Ring of Power. Oh yes. We are his priests, and he shares with us his power. And so when we thought about it, we're like, oh, that sounds like the Ring of Power. And not in a bad way, a good way, of course. Don't go freak out, people, but the idea is just to try to impress upon the hearts of ourselves and our children to remember that he shares his power with us, and we can wield his power. So this is what the Ascension Day is all about. So we have added to our little celebration Ring of Powers. Symbolic completely. So don't freak out. All right. So that's what I covered prior to the Ascension video.
Protection of the marriage covenant.
maybe Yahshua can
Teach
show us
us.
how it's done.
I mean,
Alright.
this one he gives them without the rock. That was the fault. He had to create that fault in there so that he could deal with original sin. Is it on? Okay, I know that video got kind of messed up with the, I'm just hugging Strawberry right now because that video got messed up. You didn't get all of it, but anyway, I will post it and you can see it later. So we will go ahead and go forward. We are going to, actually, I'm going to invite Isaac, whoops, to join me to find the Ascension. So Isaac, before we keep buffering here, come join me. And we're going to kind of fly through the slides here. Hi Isaac, thank you for joining me. All right, so we are going to talk about Mark. So it's not a feast, of course, but it's a really important day to mark because it is the ascension of our brother.
Right.
And so we're going to actually, Strawberry, I'm going to put you down for a minute. There you go. Okay.
He was with them for 40 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Following the resurrection.
Yeah.
And then you have the Ascension event.
Yeah. And so I have many different things for you to study on this. I have Ascension video, or Ascension Basics teaching video, where it walks you through what the scriptures say. All right, so when he actually reveals himself is in the evening when they know who he is. So he's on the road to Emmaus, but they don't really know who he is. But then later in the evening, he reveals himself. And so we start counting the evening of first fruits, which is actually at sunset on Sunday. So it brings in that day. So that's when we start.
Yeah.
Which will get us to what day?
At the beginning of Monday.
Right.
Yes, which will then get you to a Friday.
Right. Which leads us to the whole Lord of Shabbat. He says, I am Lord of Shabbat.
Right.
What does that mean?
Well.
What? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are having so many technical difficulties. Isaac is returned to doing the back end, trying to get this show on the road. So I'm just going to run through these slides real quick. I will have the PD or the Prezi slide link for you later, so you can go ahead and look at the rest of this. But let me just fly through this because we keep buffering, and we got to get Jan on, and then as Shabbat was leaving. So you have this beautiful bookend. Some of his biggest work was done as bookends to Shabbat. That's why he says, I am Lord of Shabbat, kind of idea. So I've always wondered, what did he mean? As in his physically ascends. He goes up, right? And he ascends in authority. This is super important. He ascends in authority. So he physically ascends. Okay, so we're going to try again. We're going to turn all electronics off in the house here and see if we can't get through finish this. So he physically ascends. He was received up into heaven and sat down at the right hand, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But he was carried up into heaven. He was taken up and disappeared into the clouds as they watched this sort of thing. So he ascends physically. So he's actually gone. And I wish Isaac could be here to sit here and talk to me about this, because he loves this idea in the sense it makes so much more sense with the reality of our point to a second coming, unless he's not here, right? So this beautiful prophecies that are in the Bible in the scriptures that talk about him coming back. But he literally had to leave. Now, why did he have to leave? He had to leave for the Ruach HaKodesh to come. So we see in John 16:17 or 7 to 8, it says he actually had to leave so that the Ruach could come. Yeah. So in order for the promise to come. Pretty interesting. And it's interesting that all three parts of Elohim have had time here on this planet. So they've actually had their own specific time. You see in the Tanakh, you see Yehovah dwelling in the temple, the Shekinah glory, and then the Ruach came, and the Ruach is still here with us, living in our hearts and moving on the hearts of people to obey. So why did he have to leave? The groom is now, who is Yahshua, he is now preparing his father's house for the bride. So he's preparing rooms in his father's mansion for us, right? And I think somebody calls them apartment. About this in a very I'm not talking literally, I'm talking metaphorically. So it's a marriage type arrangement that's going to happen. We're in a marriage type or an engagement type arrangement right now, betrothed to be married, and it's all for the sake of getting his last name and getting into the family, so we can get Hasatan's claim on us released. And we talked about that last week, I think. But anyway, the Ruach, I think Jim Staley talks about that. It's pretty cool. But okay, the ramifications to him being gone. Let's just look for a second at, he's physically gone, what are the ramifications of this? For one, he is not reigning as king yet. Okay, so he will, but not yet. So it's not time for us to reign either yet. So this is one of the places that I really... Okay, so we're continuing on, just looking at the ramifications of him being gone. For one, he is not reigning yet, as in king. He hasn't claimed his kingship yet, as in to subdue the nations and put the governments under his feet and destroy the enemies, this sort of thing. So he's not done that yet. He will, but not yet. He's doing something else right now. He's priest. He's working as a high priest right now, as a Kohen Gadol, and he's gathering his priesthood. So here's what the point I wanted to make was, there's this prosperity gospel out there that is saying that as his priests, we can, as little priests and little kings and queens, we can actually begin to reigning idea, in that I can claim something to operate as a king or a little queen now that I can't yet. We can't, if our high priest is not operating like that, we can't either. If our Messiah surpass him and begin to claim things that are not ours yet to claim. So right now we are to operate as priests, and we're going to talk about what that looks like in a little bit. So that's part of the ramification of being gone. We're gonna look at that right now. What is he doing right now? So he's right. The Great Commission is to go into the world and give the good news, right? And that is a priestly duty. That is something where you're going to be a servant to Israel, to other people, to the nations, to go out and find Israel and bring them back into covenant. So one thing that I wanted to show you here was all right, so what is the Great Commission? Is the Great Commission to go and take over the governments? Is that what he said to do? No. Is it to go and make all wrongs right? No. Did he say go fight for the blue whales? Go fight for this, that, and the other thing, all the good causes that are out there? No, that's not what he said to do. Did he say go build a palace and create a great life for yourself and your family? No, that is not what he said. Did he say go get a retirement plan so that you can retire when you're when you're older? No, he didn't say that. He said go and tell the world the good news. Teaching what the good news is. The good news of the gospel is that a way has been made through Yahshua to keep the original everlasting Melchizedek law of love, that covenant. That way is through... Just stand right there. Okay, Okay, so he didn't say go to the feast, and this is the only feast you have to go to for the rest of your life. After that, you don't have to go to any of the feasts. You can break the Torah. I'm starting a new thing. He didn't say any of that. Okay, so now he ascends in authority. So we talked about him ascending physically, just a little bit, and now we're going to talk about him ascending in authority. So he's going to ascend in authority. So it's been given to me. Whoa. Our brother, our high priest, our king has all authority in heaven and on earth. Yahweh, the Melech Tzadek, has given his high priest, the Kohen Gadol of the Melchizedek priesthood, Yahshua HaMashiach. He is talking authority over each other, people. I'm not talking, yes, now you can rule over each other. That was never the intent. It was never the way it was intended to be. So but he is human. And he is the second Adam. And as the second Adam, Yahshua was perfect, so he went back to the garden. He got taken back to the garden to redo the test that Adam had in front of him. So part of the work of Yahshua was to get that title deed back. That was a huge part, probably the part. I mean, like all the things, all the ramifications of that and what it entails, us going with the planet, this sort of thing. So he actually he passed all those tests, and he got taken back to be able to redo that test in the garden. He passed that test, and thus he is called the second Adam, and he now was able to restore to humanity a true authority, human authority over the planet, and so right now it's controlled by demons, but now we have a good human, perfect human sitting on the throne, and he has all authority. So original authority, as Yehovah wanted to give to humanity, is restored through Yahshua, who is sitting on the throne and who has all authority given to him. Yay! Okay, so he has restored and is a human, and he has the title deed. So what is it that he restored? What is it we lost that he has restored? So there's a little list here I'm going to read down through. We lost the title deed to the earth, so he's restored that. We lost human authority, like true, good human authority. He's restored that. We lost beauty and strength, or the feminine and the masculine glory. He has restored that. We've lost perfection and paradise and love. We lost the light that was shining from us. All of that is being restored through Yahshua. We lost innocent face-to-face communication with our Creator. We lost shalom. We've lost the 10 tribes. So he has, through his work of ascending in authority and the restoration, he is, it's so important what he did, because these are the things that were lost, and these are the things that he has restored. These are the things that he has claimed again. All right, and all those things will find their full glory and their full finished, restoration in the end, as this story continues on and this war becomes finally done, and feast. Show up to Shavuot. So that's the first thing. Okay, so you're in Luke 24:49. He says, "Now behold, I will send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry in the city of Jerusalem until you are endured with power from on high." So at the time, it was right before Shavuot. Shavuot is only like 9 or 10 days later after the Ascension. He's like, tarry in Jerusalem. And tarry, why? Tarry because the feast is coming up. Okay? And that's when they got endowed with the Ruach HaKodesh, and they began to speak in other languages. Remember in Acts, they began to speak in all these other languages because everybody was up for the feast, and they were up from all over the place. There were thousands of people up for the feast of Shavuot because it's one of the commanded pilgrimage feasts. And so you're going to have the city full of people who speak different languages. When the Ruach came on them, on the disciples and those gathered there, they could speak the truth in the language that the people could hear and understand. So that's one way we get his authority, is to show up for the feast of Shavuot and obey. Obeying him completely, you might have life through his name. So it's tied into obedience. It is tied into obedience. And knowing that he is the prophet that Moses spoke of, that we must obey, and Shema and obey his authority. Okay, so here's another way. I guess this goes on with that. How do we get his authority? We get into alignment with Yehovah. So we can't get we're not in alignment with him if we are not living by his rules, by his law, right? All right, so the job of Shavuot is to get the Ruach to live in us, to bring us into alignment with Yehovah, so we can enter into Yeshua's authority and then wield it. Okay, do you catch me there? So how do we get his authority? We show up to his feast. We get into alignment with Yehovah, and this is the job of Shavuot. So the feast that he's telling us to show up for is the Feast of Shavuot, and then the job of Shavuot is to get the Ruach in us. I think you can actually use his authority without actually being in alignment with him on some level, because, and you'll see how I talk about that in my video, because the gifts and calling. I can't really use it officially until you're in alignment with him and stuff, because if you look at, the scriptures where Yahshua says, there will be a lot of people that come to me someday that says, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not cast out demons in your name? Did we not do this in your name? And then he will turn to those people and say, get away from me. I never knew you.
It's about quarter to 20 minutes
till 1. Okay, so again, we will flying through these slides. We don't get to use his authority. What don't we get to use his authority for? Well, we don't get to use his authority for doing things that we are unauthorized to do. All right, we don't get to build our own life and our own kingdom. We don't get to live out of alignment with the Father. So in studying the Ascension, it's interesting to note that you need to look at what we don't get his authority to do. So look at that. And then number 2, what are we to use as? We get to do the same sort of things in his authority. We get to, number 1, bring the evil kingdom down. Luke 10:19 says you get to bring the evil kingdom down. Matthew 28:18 says you get to go. 8 says we get to use his authority to command wholeness, like a healing, wellness, as well as wholeness between mind and body. And finally, Luke 12:32, we get to use his authority for to exercise lordship over our own domain and walk in the authority of the Ascension to bring his will. So, some advanced training here. I know we flew through that a little bit fast, but let's talk about just a couple things in advanced training. So it might look to you like, this is where I wanted to talk about that. It might look to you like people are using his authority to do things legally, but actually they're not. Because if you look again, as he said, Lord, Lord. Okay, so also in advanced training, when you look at the Ascension, we want to look at, it might look like every single altar is sanctified, but they're not, okay? So there are actually other gods with some amount of authority who bless their worshipers. So we want to be super careful about where we place our sacrifices, where we place our time and our offerings and that sort of thing. You don't want to be placing those things on an unsanctified altar. So I'm going to read my little paragraph right here. It says, there are other gods who still hold positions of authority. The scene in Revelation where there's a war. Don't think so. All right, so I'm going to give some examples of unsanctified altars, or an example of other gods and their rewards, actually, because this is something super important to remember, is that recognition and a sense of monetary security. Yeah, there's a God of achievement. There's a God of comfort who blesses its worshipers with a house and a subdivision. Okay, so then again, we're finishing with examples of other gods and their rewards. I was giving an example of a God of religion. So this God blesses its worshipers with a sense of eternal security. I know where I'm going. A sense of belonging and guilt relief. Demons who possess some authority, and they're going to be tempting you to follow them and to lay down your sacrifices to that kingdom, to the evil kingdom. Because remember, there's only 2 kingdoms. I've been overacting, trying to figure out how to do this in the little tiny light. I mean, this is not, the narrow path is narrow, and not a lot of people find it. It's the remnant that find it, and it can be hard. Deep sense of joy, deep sense of comfort in here, because the indwelling of the rock, Papa wants to talk about during this time of year. Remember, we're on his lesson plan. All right, so quickly, what do I do now? So number 1, daily, give your place of authority, your kingdom, your domain, however big or small that is, give it over to Yahshua. Your smaller story, give that over to his larger story. That's one thing you can do. Okay, so again, on that point, just finishing that point up, what are the characteristics? We're going to look at what are the characteristics and the fruits that Yahshua is looking for in his priests, in his people, in his Israel. So that's important. So something that you can do now. And I've got a book that I'm going to show you in a little bit called Characteristics of a Melchizedek Priest that you need to get in order to begin to have a help walking through that. Number 3, daily you're going to seek his kingdom. And he has a formula in there. If you notice in Matthew, he talks about seek first his kingdom and his right doings. Seek first scattered Israel and walking in alignment with Yehovah, and then all these things will be given to you. Now, they're not going to be given to you like the God of comfort would be given to you, okay? You're going to have what you need. Okay, and then number 4, the final one on what do I do now, is daily be aware of where you're laying your offerings and your sacrifices that day. You know, one of the points of the feast rhythm is, I think, is to keep you so busy offering your sacrifices, your time, your money, your energy to Yehovah, you won't have time for anybody else, any other gods, because you'll be so busy with him and his ways. You can walk through 335 or whatnot characteristics that we saw as we read through the Gospels and what Yahshua was looking for in his priests. You know, what did he say was important? What did he, all right, so we already watched that basics. We are done with the show today. I am so sorry. This has been a little bit fast. I flew through the slides, but I think I stayed within at least under 2 hours. And next week we will figure out our technical difficulties. So I hope. But remember, there's only 2 more shows left. Okay, so Ladies of Teshuvah, I just want to invite you over now into the Facebook group, and I have a feeling it's going to upload in a lot smaller megabyte files, so I think we'll be fine over there to run and into a little 15 minutes or so with talking with Jan. She's going to come with her kids to talk to us. And if you type a little comment into the feed, I'll know that you are here watching the show, and I will get you the